everyone, this is Shrikar here, and today I'll be building a simple custom node using Gumloop. So the goal of the custom node in this scenario is essentially scraping a list of all the products on a given day, along with the link to the product. In this case, I actually don't want the product link, but it's actually the source link. So for example, if you look at Lansport, if you click on this, it'll take you to this particular URL, right? One way what we have done is like many people actually don't do this, they don't take this approach, but like I've seen many people going to like clicking on this link, going to the visit button and extracting the source link. But what I thought was it could be really interesting if you could just like leverage this redirection. So even though it says producthunt.com slash posts here, but when you click on it, like for a split second, you can see that it actually is a redirection r/p in the URL, and that is essentially what they are trying to like even track it. That's essentially what we are going to use to get to the source product link, without doing this, clicking on each product and then going to the visit section. So this is like the high level goal of this particular custom node. Let's see how it actually works. This was previously scraped. Let me just delete this. If you go to the custom node right now, it actually takes three parameters. One is the URL, source URL, what is the attribute, and what is like the date attribute value. So let's look at this particular example. So when we click on, if you just go ahead and like right click on this particular link here and say inspect, it'll have a bunch of like DOM elements which is basically section elements, and it has this attribute, custom data attribute called data test, and the value is something like post hyphen item hyphen 823931, right? So this is essentially what we can use to extract only these elements and not any other HTML, right? So one way to just essentially naively pull this information is just like pass the whole HTML to LLM, which can be like a lot of HTML. So sometimes it's also like not very accurate. Even in Gumloop right now, we have two types of like nodes. One is the scraper node, which only extract the text, and the second one is the web scraper agent node, which can get you that HTML, but there is still no way, at least from what I could figure out, is like there's no way to essentially extract only a particular DOM elements, and that is really what I wanted to try. So yeah, so all I'm going to do is like when we the custom node will essentially only extract this section elements, and these section elements are then passed to our Ask AI node, and it'll be like more effective in like figuring out what the product name as well as the link is. So that's the goal. So let's look at how the custom node is built. You go to like building the custom node by clicking on not core nodes, custom nodes, and click custom node here. This is the interface you will get. Let's look at my custom node which we have built right now. It's called smart extract. It takes the URL, that is the domain of from where you want to like scrape the elements, custom data attribute of like type text, and the value. So let's look at the configuration. So the URL is essentially the top level domain. And I most of the time, like it's quite possible that like you don't have just data test as the attribute name, it could be something else. So I just want to like figure out, okay, just be very flexible and like provide any data attribute you want. So this is most like in our cases, this is essentially like data hyphen test, and the input value will be like the prefix of the value part, which is essentially post hyphen item hyphen something, right? And it essentially matches. So the matches is the section elements in our case, and it will provide a list of them, and match count is like how many elements were matched, right? So if you look at the logic, it's a very simple Python logic, kind of like mostly extracted from ChatGPT. I just say import request from beautiful soap, import beautiful soap, header agents, and essentially what I'm doing is just getting the HTML content using request library. Once we have the status code as 200, which means that it's successful, I extract all the HTML elements. And from that HTML elements, I'm going to say, okay, find me all the elements that have this particular custom data attribute. And also it starts with the value post hyphen item in our case. So all those elements will be like passed, like will be matched, and it will be returned back. So if you look at the previous product hunt run, if you click on this, this is essentially what we are saying. So section, this particular part is what we get. So this till here is the first part, and you'll get a list of them, and that is essentially what we wanted to extract. So for this case, let's see, I have deleted this entry point or the sheet. I'm just gonna go ahead and run this particular workflow. So that should start working. Once we have the extraction done, it's going to extract the data from this particular selected HTML elements and then provide you the product name and the link. Also, one more thing that I found, this doing it this way is actually much more effective because it only takes like 6 credits. But if you take the other route, it's probably going to take like more than 10 or 15 per link per web agent. So it's going to be, that one is going to be costly. For this one, the whole workflow just took 6 credits. Yeah, so do let me know if you have any other feedback, or if you have any other custom nodes you want to like get built. I personally think that the custom nodes can be really useful when you want to integrate with any platforms where a Gumloop node already doesn't exist. Also, feel free to reach out to me if you have any more questions. One more thing, I would really appreciate if you can subscribe to this channel if you'd like this type of content. Thank you.